It's the nation's favourite antiques experts. Behind the wheel of a classic car.
This is the ejector bomb.
And a goal to scar Britain for antiques.
Where's my yellow submarine?
The aim, to make the biggest profit at auction. But it's no mean feat. There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers.
It's cheap firewood.
Will it be the high road to glory
We look really cool in this.
or the slow road to disaster?
Oh, I don't know when I'm driving.
This is Antiques Road Trip. Yeah.
Welcome back to our little green former fire engine and its two very happy occupants.
You know I've got a big soft spot for you.
That's Tim Medhurst, currently at the wheel,
Whoa.
while his road trip buddy Margie Cooper takes a break from the driving duties.
So you got used to it?
Yeah.
It could be a brand new car.
And the handling is excellent.
Which brings us to the third amigo, namely their 1970 VW crew cab, now successfully converted to electricity.
Whoops. Be careful.
You all right?
Ringing your bell.
Do you feel safe?
Ish. Oh, stop it.
Who knew fire engines could be such fun? Despite his enthusiasm for going electric, Dorset residing dealer Tim is an expert with tastes that tend towards the traditional.
It's old, isn't it? Listen to that.
While Margie from Cheshire, also a dealer, will grab a potential profitable opportunity wherever it knocks.
Makes a change from buying silver, doesn't it?
And on their second trip to the sale room, Margie's seed drill turned out to be quite a sensation.
I have to open at £95.
You are joking.
Well done.
Despite that, Tim was the overall victor and currently leads the best of five.
You're doing quite well, aren't you?
Well, I've got two under my belt now.
All right. Bring one of me headaches on.
Still three more chances to win, Margie. With once again £200 apiece.
You're the sort of person that just pulls out the bag. So I'm not relaxing too much.
Very wise. They were let loose in Lancashire and will be heading mostly south and west, seeing an awful lot of Wales before bringing things to a close in Cardiff.
Actually, it's really nice being a passenger. You can look around. I'm looking at all the little sheep.
Yeah, there's so many lambs.
Oh. A little later, they'll cross the frontier. But the first shop of the day is in the Cheshire hamlet of Milton Green. At Applegate's Antiques and Crafts, where our delightful pair will be sharing.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Right.
Don't go so
Here we are.
quickly.
Look. Come on, I'll race you. Come on. Come on.
Relax, Margie. There's plenty to go around. And it's so much more dignified to just take your time. Looks nice, doesn't it? £200 each to spend, remember? Starting right here.
Please do not touch.
Whoops. Well, very soon anyway.
Oh my goodness, what is this? Do you know what this is?
Not a seed drill, but sort of similar.
I love these things. This is a line marker. It's for putting the line down the tennis courts. This is really robust. This is like, what, 1900? Solid, made out of iron. It's indestructible, this. That's why it's still here. It's got good wooden handles. It's got a name on the side that is hard to read, but it says the Bowden marker. I quite like things like this.
Oh, we know.
I always think, how do they keep it straight?
I think string is generally involved somewhere, Margie.
£55. It's quite a collectible thing. Am I going to be embarrassed when that comes up for auction and nobody wants to see them? I'll park it and carry on looking.
At least groundskeeper Margie's made a start. What about her enthusiastic young rival?
Oh, that's rather nice. Now, one of the first things I've spotted, along with the fact this is a nice watch, is the price. And £38 to me doesn't seem an awful lot for a nice watch and a fitted box. Immediately, if I have a look inside the back, just to check that it's silver, there's a little mark in there of 935, which indicates that the case itself is silver. And date-wise, I would say we're looking at probably around 1880 to 1900, that sort of period. But the box itself I absolutely love. Look at that beautiful green velvet. And you open it up, it's got a lovely silk lining in the lid with a retailer's name in the top as well. And somebody in the late 19th century would have seen this in the window and thought, that's the watch for me. It's got a little bit of wear and tear, but if you look at the back, look at that beautiful engraving there. All the flowers. There's a little cartouche in the middle, which, if you wanted, you could have your initials engraved as well. Nobody's done that, they've left it blank, but that would be a nice touch. So for £38, I think that seems quite reasonable. I've seen something else here as well, actually. Look at that. That's quite nice. It looks like a, what, doll's saucepan, something like that. This is actually a brandy warmer, and warming brandy was quite popular in the 17th, 18th century onwards.
It's called a pannikin.
You would just, over a naked flame, warm up your brandy. But the nice thing I've spotted on this, which I quite like, is on the front here, we've got an engraved family crest. So if you had a bit of time, you could find out exactly who owned this when it was first made. And it's only £22. I know it's only silver-plated, but it's a nice little bit of history and a bit of a talking point. Well, £38 and £22, they look like they belong to the same owner. So we might be able to get a bit of a price discount because we're buying two of the items.
I think those are about to be officially reserved. Tear will be the person to talk to when he's good and ready. Margie's got her sporty line marker under consideration, of course. Anything a tad more traditional, Margie?
Well, a nice handle, look at that. Well, it's a serving fork, but it's quite old, that. Has it got a silver handle? Let's have a look.
Further scrutiny required?
It's sterling silver. Steel and silver handled. Quite like that. But it's £48.
Less than the line marker, mind.
Unless I could do a deal on that. I quite like that. It's more like a rake, isn't it? Quite handy, actually.
So many uses.
Could be some kind of toasting fork. Yeah, get your crumpets toasted. I reckon it's 1890. It survived. They might have had it a while, so if they can drop the price, I might have a go at that.
And when she does decide to fork out, she'll have Carol at her disposal.
Oh, hello.
Oh, look at your shoes.
Oh, you noticed my new treaders. They're quite nice, aren't they?
They look comfy.
What do you think?
You don't slip out of them.
No, look.
Clogs from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Go on, let's have a little modelling.
OK.
Yeah.
This reminds me of being in the shoe shop as a child.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to do that walk to make sure it wasn't rubbing at the back.
Oh, do get on with it.
Right, well, I'm just going to clog off.
Good. See you later.
I think those are just for shopping in.
That looks quite nice. Crikey. £10.
The way to a woman's heart.
Look at that. It's a tea box, a tea caddy. Look at that. Funny little clock in the front of it. Gosh. So you've got this really nicely decorated tea caddy. Tells you how to make tea here if you don't know how to make tea.
Go on, then.
Warm the teapot with hot water. Use 1 teaspoonful of tea for each person. Pour on freshly boiling water and allow to stand for 5 minutes.
So now we know.
Oh, there you go, I'm in.
Looks like it's got a not-at-all antique battery inside.
I don't think this is terribly old, you know.
Quite.
But if that clock goes, it'd be quite nice to have in your kitchen, wouldn't it? So you think, oh, it's 4 o'clock, I'll make a cup of tea. Look, it's £10. I'm going to buy it and see how it goes.
Unrepentant. Time to gather up her various possible purchases.
And off we go.
It's like supermarket sweep.
Right, Carol.
Yes.
There are 3 things there, but I'm only going to buy 2.
OK.
That's a cheap and cheerful one, so you can't ask for anything off £10.
But it's very cute, isn't it?
And this is £48.
We can do that one for £20 for
That's
you.
very, very reasonable. And then we've got this fella here I've been pushing around the shop.
OK.
Ticket price 55.
And that would be 40.
I think that's pushing it a little bit. Pushing it, do you get it?
I like that.
I'm going to have to say goodbye to my line marker. Right, so that leaves me with 2 items.
2 items,
Yeah.
which comes to 30 altogether.
Thanks, Carol.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tea and crumpets.
Nice. Plus £170 left. while Tim's still on the lookout for one more item.
It's quite an interesting little thing. So, a couple of things come to mind when I first see this. It's a rose water sprinkler, but it's bronze known as bell metal. And basically, bell metal is made with a higher tin content, so it sounds like a bell when it's struck. But it gives it that wonderful, rich colour, unlike the brass, which is quite bright and blingy. And to me, that's an indication that it's got some good age. If you look at the foot rim, it's got a few repairs and things like that. So date-wise, I'm sort of leaning towards more the 18th century, which makes it quite a nice early piece.
Ticket price, £48.
You take the top off, and inside you would pour your rose water, which is basically just rose petals that would have been steeped in water, and then you'd sprinkle it, and it would give a lovely aroma. The origins with these would be the Middle East, the Islamic world, and still used today, rose water. So it's quite a historical, interesting piece that's travelled the world. I think it's going to be down to the price. If we can try and get it down a little bit, then I think we're in for a chance. I quite like this. Let's go and find out.
Oh, yes, let's.
Hello, Taya.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. Oh, I've had such fun looking round, and I've found a couple of things that I've left here already.
On this beautiful watch, we
Yeah.
have 38.
OK.
And here we have 22.
What were you thinking?
How about 50, the two, together?
Perfect.
And then I found this most wonderful rose water sprinkler.
So it's on at 48. Would you do 40?
I will. It's a deal.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Nicely done. With 33 on the watch and 17 on the pannikin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Something which Tim shows no sign of doing, with a comfy £110 still to spend. Meanwhile, Margie has ventured towards another shop in another land, having crossed the Welsh border to reach Wrexham, where this mighty steeple is one of the country's 7 wonders. And there goes our also very marvellous antiques expert.
Brinny Grog Hall Antiques and Collectibles Emporium. So, here goes.
Oh, she takes it in her stride, like always.
Oh, look at that little chair.
Ready for whatever turns up.
Do you get some strange things, don't you?
Look at me when I'm talking to you. £170 currently in the Cooper coffers, remember?
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Now, what is this? I'm not a clock person, but I'm instantly drawn to that name there, Garrard's & Co., Regent Street, London. Been in existence since the early 18th century. And if we look at the back, it's been a leaving present for somebody from the British Road Services, A.E. Brimfield, for 30 years service. I wonder if I'll get something like this when I leave the Antiques Road trip.
There's sure to be a whip round.
And other than that, it's brass-faced, it's in cracking nick, it's solid, it's in mahogany case.
No ticket price, though.
1950s, probably. Mid-20th century. But that's a nice, clean clock, isn't it? So I can't make my mind up. I'm going to have a think about that. So I'm going to take my time. Do you get it?
Oh, we do. Time now to catch up with her chum, though. Enjoying a bit of solo motoring.
I wonder how Margie's getting on. I'm always curious when we're not together in a shop and she's let loose what she gets up to.
I'm sure he'll find out soon enough. After shopping in the delightful town of Llangollen, down by the River Dean, where, in a former chapel, they now have an emporium. Still looks an awful lot like a chapel, though. See what I mean? Unique atmosphere as well. Sort of puts the trip into the Antiques road trip, don't you think? Lordy.
Feels quite peaceful and serene walking round an old chapel full of antiques. It's a great setting, actually, and the stained glass windows are beautiful as well. I love it.
Very nice. Offertory-wise, he has 110 to chip in as well.
This is a lovely, probably musical box. And how did I guess that? It's because This was one of my first introductions to the antique world. My grandmother had, not quite this large, but she had a little Swiss chalet musical box. And it looked almost identical to this. It had little windows, it had the bocage of flowers along here, and it had a lid that rose, the roof came up, and the music started. And inside was a little coin, well, quite a big Victorian coin. It was a silver crown. And I remember the first time she put that Victorian coin in the palm of my hand when I was about 7-ish years old. And it almost filled the palm of my hand. And it took me right back to that Victorian period. And it just got me hooked.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
So thank you, grandmother. And thank you, little chalet.
And there's Dave, look, the man in charge, also playing a tune.
This looks quite nice. I do quite like Oriental furniture because of the way it's made, often without nails, screws or glue or anything like that. Everything's so precisely made that it pops together. This one's got sort of a nice lacquered finish on it with some painted flower decoration on the top. It's quite pretty, usable antique as well, which is always good. £65 though, that's a...
Steady.
It's all right. £65 though, that's a fair chunk of my budget left. So I need to be careful that I don't go spending and spending. I need to just consider things a bit, but maybe one to think about that. I quite like it.
Decidedly undecided. Back in Wrexham, Margie's also got a bit of pondering to do. There's that clock for a start, which Gary would be happy to discuss. And that's not all she's juggling with.
Good, aren't they? Clever, aren't they? How clever is that? If I try and juggle, I'll smash half the place up.
Best avoided then. Now, come on. There's got to be something with your name on it.
More stuff.
Or at least someone else's.
This is a joiner or a carpenter's toolbox. And this is Glyn Evans, a joiner, Reig Estate, Denbighshire, which I don't think that's far away from here.
Just over 20 miles, actually.
He'd come on a job, he'd have all his tools in there. And this is how this guy made his living. And here it is now. It's got a nice iron lock on it, so you could lock it up. I mean, it's fantastic to see these full of tools. And these are quite decorative, you know, they make sort of coffee tables and all sorts of things. Yeah, I always think they're quite touching, really, to think that's how he earned his living. In fact, years ago, I was lucky enough to meet Arthur Negus, amazing man who really brought antiques into television. Everybody liked him. He was a super guy. His father was a carpenter. And if he ever saw a joiner's box, he used to get really excited.
Would Arthur think £52 was going for a song, though?
So you couldn't get more Welsh than Glyn Evans, could you? And as we're in Wales, it would be quite a nice thing to buy. I don't know if it's going to race away, but I think you could make a small profit if I can get it at the right price.
So, it looks like the box and not the clock.
Gary.
Margie.
So I've seen a box
OK.
with Glyn Evans on it.
Okie dokie.
But it's 52 quid. And I don't like it that much. How about 35?
38.
Oh, that's OK.
Good work, Gazza.
I'll be back to pick it up.
Great.
Wrapped in Wrexham. But how's it going in Llangollen, where Tim seems to have decided against his bit of furniture?
That's quite charming. And it's got good age as well, this. Look, it's a mirror that's in the shape of an artist's palette. And it's even got the little dimple there for your finger. And you can hold the palette and do your makeup. You can be your own artist. Look at that. The quality is quite good. The back is a nice solid piece of wood. It's got nice little feet. And it's got these little glass jewels holding the mirror plate onto the wooden board. And age-wise, I would say we're talking probably around the first half of the 20th century, so maybe around 1920. And I would say probably Venetian. And a nice sign of age here, look, is the flecking underneath the mercury backing on the glass. It's flaking away, but that is actually quite charming. And I could see that being a nice usable antique today, can't you? Do you know what one of the best things about this is? It's only priced at £8.50. I think it's just going to come with me.
A no-brainer, you might even say.
Ah, Dave.
Hi.
I found this nice little mirror.
That's quite sweet.
Right, you got £8.50 on it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to haggle because I think £8.50 is very reasonable.
OK.
Easily done.
Thanks very much, Dave.
Cheers now.
But while he departs with £101.50, Margie, it seems, is not quite finished for the day.
Oh, gosh, I keep thinking about that clock. Shall I buy that clock? Yeah, I think I will.
Better late than never.
I'll go and get it.
And what's more, it's still there.
You thought you got rid of me, didn't you?
Good to see you again. It
Thank
must have
you
been at
very
least 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? How much is it?
65. 45.
It's good enough for me.
Deal finally done.
Definitely going now.
Oh, please come back.
Definitely going now. Bye then.
Bye.
So, with £87 remaining, she's off, with Tim on hand to come and collect.
So you picked up 2 clocks today?
Yes.
So you're a bit of a two-timer then, really, aren't you?
You are a joke.
I think on that, nighty-night. Next morning, our pair are busy brushing up on a few key phrases.
Croeso I Cymru. Welcome to Wales.
Oh, welcome to Wales. Croeso I Cymru. Is that right?
Close enough. Well, let's just hope they're able to welcome some profits at the auction. After a busy day spent shopping, in which Tim acquired a silver pocket watch, a rosewater sprinkler, a pannikin, and a dressing table mirror.
You can be your own artist. Look at that.
Which leaves him with £101.50 for today's purchases. While Margie picked up a tea caddy clock, a long service clock, a joiner's toolbox, and a multi-purpose silver-handled fork, as you do.
Quite handy, actually.
Meaning she now has £87 left in her kitty. So, what's next on the agenda?
When you come to Wales, something I always think about is, are we going to find a nice, traditional Welsh antique? Not a Welsh dresser, although we could probably fit that in the back now, couldn't we?
Or an awful lot of love spoons. Later on, they'll be rummaging all the way to Ruthin, but they start out back in Llangollen at Plas Naweth, a once simple stone cottage which during the late 18th and early 19th century was transformed by 2 women friends, whose long and loving relationship makes this a place of pilgrimage to the LGBTQ community. Tim's finding out more about the Ladies of Llangollen from Heritage Assistant Garth Thomas.
The house is famous for 2 ladies who came from Ireland, Eleanor Butler, Miss Sarah Ponsonby. They first met in the year 1768, and quite quickly it was noticeable that Eleanor and Sarah got on really well. Despite a 16-year age gap between the two, the families tried to split the ladies up, but the ladies were determined. They wanted to start a new life together, and after a few months the families had to agree, reluctantly let the ladies go. They sailed over the Irish Sea. They came here to this house. They absolutely adored the house and they wanted to put their stamp on it. They particularly wanted to give it a Gothic feel, and they came up with an ingenious way of how they were going to do this. They said to visitors, if you come to see us, welcome, but please will you bring and give to us any old oak furniture you don't want. So the ladies would receive the furniture, they'd have it dismantled, then they'd take the panels, the carvings, the inlay, and they'd use it to adorn the house inside and out.
It seems that whilst their unconventional relationship certainly attracted some curiosity, for the most part, Sarah and Eleanor were allowed to live in peace. In fact, they became something of a celebrity couple, famed as much for the improvements they'd made to their home as for their lifestyle.
The gardens became so well known that Queen Charlotte asked for a map of the gardens and a map of the house to be sent to her. The ladies were hugely honoured, as you can imagine. Anne Lister, who's known to us as the hero of the TV show Gentleman Jack, she came to visit the ladies. The poet Wordsworth came, and he was so bewitched by the ladies, he felt compelled to write a poem specially for them. Unfortunately, they didn't like the poem.
They must have had a real deep relationship with each other.
Absolutely. This is something we get asked about quite a lot by visitors. They want to know the full extent of the relationship. The truth is, no one knows exactly were they friends, were they lovers. No one can give a definitive answer. What we can say, they lived here very happily for 49 years, caring for each other, and that's quite an achievement, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
After Sarah and Eleanor's deaths in 1829 and 1831, Plas Naweth, which means new mansion, passed through several other hands. Then, 101 years later, when the house was turned into a museum, the ladies' Gothic fantasy became accessible to all. This is Sarah Joy Ford, a lesbian artist inspired by their lives and work.
So this all looks lovely, Sarah Joy. So tell me, what's going on here?
I came here on holiday with my partner in 2021 because I fell in love with the story of the ladies and their love story. Yeah. And how important the story of the Ladies of Llangollen is to kind of generations of lesbian and queer women who came afterwards.
These are gorgeous. So what's this to do with?
This is one of the dragons. This references some of the carvings that are actually in the house all around us. And I kind of thought of the dragon as a bit of a protective spirit for the ladies. They moved from Ireland to Wales, and I thought that the symbol of the dragon would be really important. And there's some text here which is from a novel by a woman called Mary Gordon, all about the Ladies of Llangollen.
So you've done a lot of research, haven't you?
Yes, and I was really interested, particularly in Sarah Ponsonby, because often we get a lot of Eleanor's voice because she wrote lots of journals and letters, but Sarah was more of the artist, and there's some embroideries of hers in the house and more at Denbighshire Archive. And one of the things that was really important, Sarah, she was really interested in heraldic designs. So I've actually combined the Butler and Ponsonby arms on the centre of the quilt here, and it's surrounded by their initials as well, because they always signed their names together.
And of course, these two lovely cats.
And they also had a pet cow and a dog called Sappho.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Sarah Joy's fabulous exhibition was appropriately entitled Beloved.
Oh, what a lovely story.
Absolutely amazing. And the architecture and the way they've decorated the house.
Yeah, Sarah Joy was delightful. She was so fired up about it all.
Time now to get back to the shopping. And so Tim's grabbed the cab to take himself elsewhere in the Welsh countryside. His very last buying opportunity of the leg is found in the town of Mould, in Flintshire, at this former filling station. Oh, is that a seed drill by any chance? He might be able to take a leaf out of Margie's book. Although there's an awful lot of this stuff at Jennings Antiques.
Ooh, dead end.
Yep, furniture. Heaps of it.
That's an interesting looking chair up there. Not sure how you get up. Don't want to break anything.
Especially not bones. And there's shopkeeper Rob, busy adding a bit more furniture. Tim has £101.50 to spend, remember?
I quite like trench art because it's so personal. This shell case was made in 1917. You can see the date down here. And engraved on it is flowers. I think that might be a forget-me-not, and a thistle here as well. And then it's engraved 1917 on the front. So somebody at the front in 1917 would have picked up a used shell and then decorated it as a vase.
No price on that one.
I wonder if the forget-me-not is maybe a love token. Maybe it was brought home for a loved one. So quite an interesting little thing. Quite collectible as well, so it might be worth finding out what the price on that is. So much here.
And while he continues scouting, we'll call in at the location of Margie's last shop, which will be in nearby Ruthin, the county town of Denbighshire, at Jeff Jones Antiques.
Hello.
Hello, Marge.
That's Jeff himself, by the way. His place is also rather packed to the gunnels. Oh, look, the ladies are here as well. Margie does also have a fair bit of cash, remember?
So I've got £87 left to spend, so I've got to try and find something that's going to beat Mr. Medhurst. That's the idea.
Fighting talk, eh?
So you come into an antique shop like this, and I've been into many in my time, and you bump into something that you have not seen ever before. I think it's some primitive agricultural thing. It says here it's a corn sheller, so I assume that you sat astride it, and it was for these are metal, and it was for shredding corn. So you would sit on there, drag it all up, all these little iron bits sticking out, and the corn would fall into a container somewhere.
Ticket price, £95.
200 years old, must be. It's absolutely solid as a rock. This has been just handmade for a purpose. But I'm going to keep looking around this very interesting shop and see what else I can find.
Shucks. Looks like Jeff won't be required just yet.
Well, they're an eyeful, aren't they? What a flashy pair of vases. Not exactly my taste, but they are Victorian. They're about 120 years old. Not the best quality, but pieces that people would like to put in their house to impress. During that period, everything Japanese was very, very popular. So if you look at the design here, you've got the geisha there, turn it round, and you've got the warrior there. You've got the same on the other vase.
Satsuma ware.
But if they're decent price, I just might buy these. They look better from far away than nearby, but to see really fabulous Satsuma, that's something else. Amazing. That is crude Satsuma, but they're a nice blue shade. They're a matching pair. Unfortunately, there's a chip here. That's been done recently, but I still think I might make a profit on them.
Here we go.
Right, I've just been looking at these two large vases.
Yes.
What sort of money are we talking about?
£90.
That's going to be a bit of a problem, I think. Would 65 be cheeky?
It would be. However,
yeah.
Since it's you, I will accept.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Nicely done.
So I'm just going to go and get one.
Yes.
And then I'll come back for the other.
OK.
With £22 left over. Mind your back, Margie.
After all that haggling, trust me to drop it.
Now, back to mould, where Tim's got an awful lot to pick from. Sorry. He does have this bit of trench art already on his shortlist, though. What else?
Cool robot.
Computer says...
Oh, these always give me the heebie-jeebies. Look at that. If you had a baby during the Second World War in the 1940s, if there was the air raid going on, you would actually have to put your baby inside that, strap it in, and then you'd have to put your own gas mask on as well, and then you'd have to pump this to let air into the actual chamber itself. Now, there is a big market for military memorabilia, and also gas masks as well are collectible. It's £140, which is well out of my budget. But budget aside, it does give me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm not going anywhere near that.
Oh, well, no sale. Still much to see, though, including several old tomes.
Oh, look, it's a whole rack of cookery books. Let's look at these. I really, really love old recipe books. And what you're always hoping is you find a really early one, because handwritten recipe books are very popular, especially if they're early. So we're talking 18th century, 19th century. These ones look a bit later to me. Although this one, look at the writing in here, so sweet. And it's got these little cutouts as well, which look like they're probably from periodicals. Date, recipe book, that's this, bought October 5th, 1927. So it has got some age. Look. Eggless and butterless cake. Very modern.
Is it tasty, though? What else have they got?
Oh, there's coconut pyramids. Very nice. Birthday cake, currant loaf, lemon cake. God, there's loads of ideas here.
I do love a drizzle myself.
This is the cake book, by the looks of it. Loads and loads of recipes. I wonder how much they are, because actually, if we put those together as a little lot, handwritten recipes, there's hours and hours of fun looking through those and actually following some old school recipes from the 1920s. I think that's really charming. Might go and find out how much they are. Rob, I found these rather nice recipe books.
Right.
Also in the other room there was a trench art shell case.
OK, the best on the recipe books would be 15. The shell casing would be 50 out of the best.
OK, I'm shaking your hand on the recipe books.
£15 it is, then. That's cash, not imperial. Which means he has £86.50 unspent. With the next trip to the sale room now hoving into view.
Well, I suppose with the clocks, I mean, at least you've got an alarm clock, so we won't miss the auction tomorrow, will we?
Quite.
Shut-eyed with confidence. Before returning to Starbridge, where the local football team are called the Glass Boys. Our pair acquired their goods between Milton Green and Ruthin before lugging the lot to the West Midlands and Fielding's auctioneers. where they'll be selling in the room, on the net and on the phone, with Will Farmer on the podium. Hi, Will.
Well, I feel like, Margie, I've been quite lucky so far. Maybe I peaked too early.
Well, maybe you have been lucky.
Yeah. I'm quite excited about this one, though.
Are you?
Yeah.
Margie doesn't sound quite so sure, having spent a total of £178 on 5 auction lots. Can Will offer encouragement, please?
I absolutely love the Carpenter's Toolbox. I think it's just got such great decorative appeal. I really hope this will do well today. It's a smart thing.
Tim parted with £113.50 for his 5 offerings.
The little brandy pan, I think, is absolutely charming. Great little gift at Christmas. I think it's a really lovely little object.
And here are our competitors now.
Right, here we are, round 3.
Round 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
First into the ring is Margie's serving fork.
It's got a silver handle.
Oh, nice. Swept. It's nice.
Who'll get me underway at £10 to start? £10, thank you.
I thought it might be a back scratcher.
We're bid now 15, 20. Is there 20 a challenge? Otherwise, at 15
What did you pay?
pounds, and we all show
20, unfortunately.
Right.
For the toasting fork, at £15 it will be...
Silver's not the flavour of the month, is it?
No, it isn't.
Whatever the lucky new owner uses it for, they got it cheap.
I'm sorry, but not too sorry, you know? Like, a little bit disappointed, but slightly happy at the same time.
Yes.
Tim's turn, his rosewater sprinkler.
You're very hopeful for this.
I like it. It's the sort of thing I like. Whether it makes a profit or not, I am completely unsure.
Where will we be? £10. Who's going to get me underway at £10?
That's a low start, isn't it?
Surely there's another bid in it out there.
Oh, my.
Oh, Margie. £10.
We all done and dusted? Gavel aloft.
I'm really unhappy.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely mutual at the moment.
Something is going to make money. It's got to.
Well, could it be Margie's pair of slightly damaged Satsuma vases?
Do you want some fish with your chips?
Hey, cheeky.
Good pair of lots. So who's going to start me at £40 for them to get them underway?
I'll be amazed if you make money on these.
£10 on my right, 15 if you will.
They accidentally slipped on their button, didn't they? Oops.
I deserve this.
So £10 to my right. We'll take these away if we're done. 15 was still there on the fall of the hammer at 15 and 20.
Every fiver adds up.
15 on my left and 20, will you? 20, they're back. They're still with it at 20.
They're
20,
hanging on.
I'm back. I'm
They're
only
hanging
40
on.
quid down.
I think they're bidding on the wrong lot.
25.
Could you imagine if they still go and make a profit now?
Still with it at 30. Back, will you, at 35? At £30, all done, rooms out, selling to my right at £30.
I'm not bothered.
We thought you were about to lose £50, so it's better than that.
I'm a loss.
Quite a lot, shall we say.
I won't do it again, I promise.
Tim's pannikin is next, as admired by the auctioneer.
It's got a nice little armorial crest engraved on
Lovely.
it.
Oh,
which I
that'll
thought-
help it along.
Yeah, so
That should be a tenner then.
I paid 17.
I did.
And I can open at £30. Straight in at £30 is my bid at £30.
It's the armorial crest that's done it.
Just lifts it up, doesn't it?
It does.
So 35 a challenge.
I mean, I'm happy with that. It'd be nice if someone else wanted to have a little go.
I love it.
With me at £30.
There we are. Little profit.
And a little round of applause. Well done.
Dinky little buy.
Now for the first of Margie's clock collection, the tea caddy job.
It's a bit of fun. And it was in nice condition. It's not terribly
I
old.
never thought I'd see the day with something with batteries on the
Excuse
Antiques
me,
Road trip.
batteries were invented at the beginning of the 20th century. Did you know that?
Yeah, but they were this big.
Who'll start me at £10?
Oh my goodness, you've got a bid.
Have I got a bit?
15 a challenge, 20
You are
if you will.
joking.
You're coming back for one more, don't lose it for one. We're at £15 bid.
You are joking.
20 anywhere else out there, in the room or online?
Tell you the collectors out
I
there.
give up. I give up.
Gavel aloft then at £20. All done, last chance.
I can't believe you've doubled up on something that takes batteries.
They all count, Tim.
I liked it.
Proper clockwork now. Tim's silver pocket watch.
Was it working?
Don't know. Actually, that's a good point. I didn't even check.
£40. Takes out the underbidders at £40.
Oh, he's got 40.
£40
No, he's asking.
It's £40 takes out the underbidders at 40.
A little bit more. One more.
Takes out the underbidders at £40. I will sell.
Well, look, a slim profit, but it's a profit.
It's a bit like my tea
nevertheless.
caddy.
Oh, a controversial claim from Margie.
It's nothing like your tea caddy. That was actually a nice thing.
It's getting nasty.
Play nicely. Margie's much admired and non-battery powered box is next.
They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah.
When you think, you know, he's carried that around for 40 years and used it to ply his trade on an estate in Wales.
Who's going to get me underway at a £30 start? I've got a £10 bid and I can take that £10 bid. 15 a challenge, 15 I'm bid, 20 if you're coming back.
I am surprised at this.
Glyn.
We're taking a hammering on this one.
Then the Gavels aloft then at £15 for the joiner's box at £15. All sure?
I'm surprised at that, but
I know.
it's a nice looking thing.
Yeah.
Still, at least someone will be able to enjoy Glyn's little legacy.
Whoever he was, you know, he's going to live on for a bit. I'm going to cry in a minute.
Tim's palette-shaped mirror. Surely a profit this time.
I just like the idea of doing your makeup like an artist.
Right, that's nice.
Who's going to get me underway at £10 to start? £10 I've got and 15, £10 on an opening bid. Is
That's worth more than that.
Otherwise, at £10, we'll take this one away on that maiden bid.
I made £1.50.
Which, on reflection, ain't too bad.
Still a profit.
It is still a profit.
Time for Margie's long service clock. Her last lot.
Looks smart. I can see that going well.
Come on, Garrard.
Who's going to get me underway at £30 for the little mantle clock?
Straight in at 40.
£40 on bid. 45 to my right. Come back at 50. Well battled on.
I'm rooting for you.
50, they're coming back. 50 in front of me. 55, they're back. 60, if you will.
Oh, come on. No,
55.
It's
Got a bid of 55.
60 on bid. Are you going to go again at 65? It's ready to go. Are we all sure? 65, thank you. 70 now. We're at 65 then. The gavel is aloft. Are we all done in the room as well? And selling away then to my right at £65.
It's about time you made a profit as well.
He is in a cheeky mood today.
I'm just winding you up.
Now, can Tim cook up a tasty finish?
Oh, they're bound to make a profit.
Who's going to get me underway at £10 for them? Surely. Just for the recipes.
Oh, they're well
history.
worth that.
£10. 5 to start.
Oh,
then,
no.
For the nostalgia alone. £5 I'm bid.
Tragic.
10 will you as a challenge. And £5 then, are we all sure?
Oh, no.
We'll take these home if we're all sure and done.
I really enjoyed looking through them.
I bet you did.
Let's just hope he remembered at least one of them.
Right, I have no idea where we are. Should we
Let's go.
go and work it out? Come on.
Sorry, Margie, but it's not good news, because after auction costs, let's be brief, you made a big loss of £50 and 40p. While Tim, also with sell room fees deducted, made a slightly smaller loss, £29.90. So he takes an unassailable 3-0 lead, but there's still pride to play for.
Gonna get a repetitive strain injury if I'm not careful. Sorry.
You are getting your own back on me from last time, aren't you?
Oh, Margie. Come on.
Next on Antiques Road Trip,
Phones for you, Margie.
Oh, very funny.
gone wrong,
But there's no dangly ball thing that you ring.
back to school,
Oh, makes you sit up straight.
slipped discs, and gulls allowed.
Oh, get out of it.